you know, I don't know what's wrong with us. A-levels is one thing that used to happen way back.
Yes, that even give you better opportunity at securing admission.
Yes, it was almost a necessity then that you go through A-levels after when you, exactly when you finish SS3. This is the conversation on Kaftan TV in Abuja, the nation's capital. My name is Elizabeth Sam-Sedi. You're welcome. On the program today, we shall delve into the effect of back to school. We shall delve into the present state of Nigerian educational structure, the crucial role of the education as a power tool for change. Nelson Mandela's favorite quote, he said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world," meaning education is viable, is important. If you want to go far in life, you cannot do without education. On the conversation today, we shall be highlighting the challenges faced by educational sector in Nigeria, discussing the impact of social, economic, and political crisis exacerbated by events like the COVID-19. All of this, losing hope, losing livelihood, parents, retrenchment all around the world started during COVID-19. And believe me, the world till now has not fully recovered from it. This discussion today revolves around the decline in quality of education in Nigeria, pointing out issues which, such as the lack of quality teachers, in government schools, dilapidated infrastructure, and financial struggles, I beg your pardon, faced by parents due to various economic factors like increased school fees, rising petrol prices like we are currently facing right now, and other expenses in the home, around the home and the family front. Today, we aim to shed light on the effects of going back to school. We are laying a lot of emphasis on it because it's a new section about to commence, especially in the face of the challenges, the present challenges of hunger that the country is experiencing. All right. And also we are going to be touching on the government's policy regarding the age requirement for writing WAEC and JAMB, the 18 years required. All right. The back and forth between parents and governments and the schools. We're going to take a look at where does the school stand on this. Are they all for or against this policy? I'm not alone in the studio today. I have with me a gorgeous lady. My guest on the show today is Mrs. Mulikah Abdulkadir. Haja, like we have been calling you in the studio. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's so good to have you on this show, and thank you for coming, even with the short notice that we gave to you.
Thank you for having me. Yes.
Mrs. Abdulkadir here is a master's degree holder in educational technology, and she also has a BSc in biological science. She's a British certified. She's a British certified teacher, or with 13 years working experience as a classroom teacher and administrator, right?
Yes, you're
good.
Right.
And currently, you are the head of secondary school at the FARIAH Academy in Kaura district here in the FCT. Once again, you are welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me, the fuel crisis in the FCT. We are feeling it. Everybody is feeling it. As a teacher, you are feeling it. Yes. As a mother, you are feeling it. So tell me your experience, how it has been, and of course, having the prices of foodstuff. All right, because one of the most important thing, if not the most important thing, is we have to eat. It's feeding. So how has it been? What has been your market experience these few times?
It has not been easy as a mother.
as a school administrator, it's really not easy on anyone, because for the fuel, everything, once there's an increase in fuel price, it's going to affect every other thing in the market. Now, you can think of a school that is running transportation system where you have to pick students from different area in Abuja, and then you've already given bill for your transportation for the term. And just a week, just few days to resumption, the fuel price increase. Already parents are, and it's not something you can just add to the price of the fee, because the parents are also facing it. It's not as if the income of the parents has increased also. So we have to be considerate, and we have to look for how to manage around the changes on the transportation, on the feeding as well. Feeding at home, as feeding my children at home, and feeding, because in my school we provide school food service, so we cook for children. Some parents they don't have that time to cook early in the morning before going to work. So feeding children, you can imagine feeding like 100 and something children for 4 months with this price increase is a whole lot. But we'll manage, find a way around it.
All right. Please, tell us a little bit about your school, FARIAH Academy.
Okay, thank you. The FARIAH Academy operates on an integrated curriculum of both Nigerian and British curricula. We work tirelessly to develop students that can succeed not only locally, but globally. And as our motto implies, discipline for development. We are strong, we are heavy on developing character, morals, and values,
which is far running, becoming a thing, disappearing from homes and
definitely
from schools.
Yes, so we are really concerned about about the value, the character, the morals of the students we are training. We just don't want students that are strong academically. We want students that are strong morally as well.
Okay, so tell us, what is it that, as we have a lot of private schools in Nigeria, and like we had earlier said in the intro, a lot of parents are taking their children away from public schools because of the state, because either there are no teachers, teachers are not enough, the classrooms are dilapidated, the roofs are falling off, and all that. Every parent wants to give their child a very good education. So that's why you see that there's a lot of you in the private sector, you are having it good, right? Because a lot of parents are, leaving the government schools and going to the private schools. What would you tell us what makes FARIAH Academy different from other private schools?
Like I said, one thing is the curriculum that we use, which is an integrated curriculum, which we enable our students to excel even globally. And another thing is the morals. Another thing is the culture and the belief. Now we integrate the Islamic education, the Islamia, and Bible study. So we ensure both, because it's not an Islamic school. So we ensure that the students start their day with the Word of God, because I believe the best foundation is that which is laid on the fear of God.
Absolutely.
So in the morning, we have students go into either Bible study or they go for Islamic Quran recitation. So that is really helping us, because at least you have that belief. There are so many things we don't do, not because we cannot do it, but because we have that fear of God in us.
Oh, I like the sound of that, fear of God. Okay, let's go on. And a lot of there's a loud cry out from parents about school fees increments. A lot of people will wonder, as bad as things are, the economy is bad. There's hunger in the land.
It's
all right,
easy,
and yet schools are increasing their fees. What do you put into consideration before increasing fee, and how do you consider parents?
Yes, first I say, now every school has got its standards. You have your standards that you are giving, you have the quality that you are producing. The school will not just increase the fee without considering their own expenses. Now, ordinary tissue paper that the students use in the toilet, I just finished eating, I need to wipe my plates before putting it back in my lunch bag. If the price of tissue paper has doubled. Like my school, we have water dispenser displayed, positioned at different corners. the students can consume up to 10 buckets of that, gallons of that water dispenser in a day. And then you look, those are even minor expenses. You look at the textbooks, like a school that is using the British curriculum, like my school, to buy one textbook, not stock of the workbook, one textbook is going for like 25,000 naira. And then you have to have the textbook, the workbook, then for all the subjects. So even the resources, so everything, the school, we have to consider our own expenses. And we cannot now say, okay, because everything has increased, let's reduce the standard. Then you are going to lose parents. Because we believe the parents that are here, that are with us, are the parents that value what we provide. So the best thing for the parents is, okay, if you know that you can no longer continue with this school because of the price, yes, there are still schools that might still give you. That? Yeah, that's my personal advice to parents.
Okay.
Instead of you to struggle with the fee, it's better you look for another school that can at least, even if they can't give you 100% of what you want, at least give you 80% of what you want at a lower rate.
So when you tell them that, how do they react? They don't feel insulted, like because you know there are parents that you need to be very careful
now,
what you tell them.
Officially, I wouldn't tell parents, so if you cannot afford this school, you have to remove your child. It's like you say, it's going to sound like an insult. But what we do for parents is to offer them a payment plan. So it's not compulsory you pay 100% of the school fees
you
at the
allow
installment payments. So
like how many installments do you do?
At least you have to finish it before the end of the term. So we advise parents to come in at the beginning. So at the beginning of the term, come in and give us your own plan. Okay, this is what I will be able to do, maybe 2 weeks interval or 1 month interval. You know your income, you know your financial status, so you know what you can afford. Okay. As far as you can finish it before the end of term, we are okay with it.
Okay, so your school is, you have both British curriculum and Nigeria.
Yeah, definitely.
So generally, how would you, as a teacher and as an administrator, how would you rate the Nigeria curriculum? Just rate it less.
Honestly, I will rate the Nigeria curriculum, let me say 50%.
Why?
The Nigeria curriculum is, let me say the British is the Nigeria curriculum, the Nigerian curriculum is the British curriculum. The difference in the two is the delivery, is the constant reviewing, constant renewing of the curriculum. The Nigeria curriculum focuses on just understanding, not the application. The British curriculum focuses on application of skills that you acquire. So that's the main difference in the curriculum used. But then, even when you're adopting the British curriculum, the British will even advise you to adopt it to suit your own cultural belief. So you have to adopt it you have to check your environment, you have to check what is the culture, what's acceptable in this place, and then you integrate it with what you have, your local curriculum, and then you deliver. You can't train students in Nigeria with strictly to just dwell in the British curriculum. We don't believe in that. We also want them to be able to succeed locally.
Okay, for the fact that parents trip into private schools, you know, so much, and private school has become like the gap, covering the gap between parents and government schools. Would you say that, not just your school now, generally, would you say that private schools have been able to cover that gap well? Would you say that the students that go to private schools get as much as they ought to? Because there's this thing about private schools, most of them don't really, I didn't say all of them, don't really bother about, theirs is just to collect the fee. It's all about the money, it's all about the fee, whatever other training that the children ought to get from the school. It's hard, it's difficult. So would you say that the private schools have been able to cover that gap well?
Yes, I would say 70%. I won't say 100%, but speaking generally for private school, I would say 70%, because the problem now is not just about the curriculum, it's also about the delivery. If I give you and say, okay, this is what the students are expected to know, and you are very bad at delivering that, then there's going to be a problem. Now, how I would say one of the major reasons why private school have been able to cover that gap is the fact that there is better supervision. There's better monitoring
in private schools.
In private school, that's much more than government school. Now,
so?
Yes, I do. That's on the teachers.
Why you think so?
Okay, now you have a private school. Before a teacher in a private school go to the classroom, you have to write your lesson plan, which in the lesson plan, you are going to state the learning outcomes, you are going to state the activities, you are going to state the objectives and everything. And this lesson plan will pass through your head, which is supposed to at least have more knowledge, more experience than you are. So it passes through your head will review it, make contribution, and then you have better access to resources.
And in government schools, they don't do that?
In government school, there is a little to no monitoring.
Have you worked in a government school before?
No, I have people. Even my own biological sister, I have people that work in the government system. She's a teacher in government school. So no principal has the time to be marking lesson plan every week. And then the resources also. Now, delivering effective lesson is expensive. You have some things you're supposed to get. The principal does not have access to funds to give you, to buy resources, materials you need to deliver this lesson. But in a private school, the management is closer to you, so you have better resources, you have better monitoring. If there's not monitoring from the head to the teachers, trust me, human nature, humans, we are lazy naturally. So if you don't have anybody monitoring you, nobody is checking up on you, you will just relax. You procrastinate and then you leave it undone. So I believe that monitoring, that supervision, that additional resources is what is giving private school an edge over the government school. And another important thing is continuous professional development. So you have most private schools like this, especially at the end of the session. Before you resume for the new session, you will go through a lot of trainings because new things come up every time. Now, how often do these private school teachers go for training?
I was going to ask you, how often does your school take your teachers for training?
Every time, every week. As far as there's need, if you feel okay, but minimum, the general training is done at the end of the session, minimum. But as we resume, almost every week, we have review. Sometimes it might not be a training where you, sit down, let me teach you. It might be a workshop. Okay, we put a policy in place. We are trying a new system. Let's get feedback. How are you working with it in your class? How are you coping with it? What are you doing differently? What are your challenges? So we have constant weekly workshop, teacher workshop, and then the general training. There's no way we don't do training timely.
Okay, so let's talk about discipline. How much discipline do you apply? Because again, when we were growing up, our parents always encourage our teachers that if we are doing anything wrong, they give them the permission. You can discipline when necessary.
Yes.
All right, according to whatever it is that the child has done. And the kind of society that we have now, if a child goes home and tells the parents that they were disciplined, we've seen a lot of times parents come to school to slap the teachers, beat the teachers,
sue the school,
harass them, sue the school and all that. Talk to me, how on this issue of discipline, why is it disappearing from mostly private schools?
Now, I would say...
Is it because of the fear that you don't want to lose your customers or your clients as the parents or the students, or why?
It's not just that. I would say then we don't know better. Our parents don't know any better. That was the easiest way to discipline. And if you look critically at that method of corporal punishment, sometimes all it does is to create that fear in you. Sometimes it doesn't really correct that behavior. Now, a disciplinary measure is supposed to correct a behavior, so you don't, it doesn't repeat itself. So now we don't believe in impacting pain on children.
Not necessarily pain.
Flogging is
yeah, not necessarily.
So we still discipline, but we don't encourage corporal punishments. I don't encourage. So we have what we call the positive behavior, positive disciplinary technique. Now, where most of the time we only get punished for what we did not do right. We don't get to reward for what we've done right. So what we do is to put something in place that will help you to earn points whenever you do what is expected of you. And then for everything you do, for every laws that you break, you lose points, and you can also get punished by serving detention, by denying detention. Yes, in school. So if you're on detention, if you feel okay, you've done something that warrants us to detain you in school, we put a call across to the parents. Please, this child is expected to stay an hour, 2 hours in school today. You will come back to pick later. So when everyone is going, you stay back.
Stay behind.
And what are you doing during that detention time? You are working. If it's a chart, you need to help a teacher to create a chart to teach. Start working on this teaching aid. Sometimes it's just writing a word. You can just write "I'm sorry." By the time you write "I'm sorry" 1,000 times, you sit down in a place. Sometimes you just stay at a point without doing anything. So we have detention, we have suspension, we have actually giving you something to do, like washing toilets, like sweeping, but then we will inform the parents.
Okay, so what about this other thing of it's been a while since I heard that a child is repeating a class.
Yes.
So what went wrong, or rather what's going on? What's happening? Why is it that students don't repeat class anymore when necessary?
Yes, so you are right.
No failure. Then we used to be, there used to be first, second, third positions, and when you fail, they say, okay, you didn't make it and all. But now, hardly even those that didn't make it well academically, they don't repeat classes. What's going on?
Yes, I would say generally speaking, not speaking from the FARIAH Academy, generally speaking.
Yeah, but generally, not just from your academy.
The parents now consider, they focus mainly on the fee. So if you advise a student to repeat, and you'll be hearing something like, are you going to refund the fee I've paid for the year? Okay, so you have problem like that. And then I think another thing that works towards eradicating that repeating is the fact that you are supposed to detect it before the end of the session, because if this child is not going to succeed this year, you must have been seeing this from first term. So why wait to the end of the session before saying this child has to repeat? So most of the time the problem will be tackled before it gets to that time. You must have invite parents in. Okay, these are the challenges we are facing, these are the things we advise you to do. And sometimes the child will improve, and the child might not need to repeat. But if the child really need to repeat, even after, sometimes it's actually age different, it's maturity that is the problem. But after considering all the problem, if you've done everything and you still feel, I think this child, we have slow learner, like say we have people with learning difficulties. So it might be that, okay, this child has learning difficulty. I think it will be best for the child to retake this class. If that's the best, you advise. And if the parents say they want to pull their children out, that is now left for the school to decide. Are you ready to reduce the quality of your service just so you don't lose 1 or 2 children, or you are ready to make that sacrifice to maintain your standard? So that's now the school's decision.
Okay, so due to all of this increments of school fees, all that parents are facing, because parents go through a lot. They have to figure out the house rent, where the roof to even put their children upon. That is even most important. More important than anything else. A shelter, a roof over the head of your children and your family. Already, apart from the fuel increase, we have electricity tariffs that also were increased. All right, there are a lot, and even let's even talk about those that are civil servants that have 2, 3 or even 4 children.
Yes, yes.
You know, and all that. So my point is, for those parents that have up to 2 or 3 or 4 children in your school,
yes,
do you give them some kind of discount, considering, how do you consider them, put them into consideration?
Yes,
as
we
far
do.
as school fees is concerned?
We do. We give them discount. We give discount for to parents who have more than 2 children in the school. But then, you know, sometimes the discounts you give will not even be enough. So it's now left for the parents. My own personal advice to parents is that you know your income. You know what's your capability. So if you go to the school, have a discussion with the school, what can the school do? Or they are going to give you discounts, they are going to allow you to make the payments instrumentally. Is that okay by you? If that's okay, good. If that's not okay, please look for other schools that you can afford and can still give you the quality of what you need, at least 80% of what you need.
Okay, let me chip this in very quickly before we go on our first break. The area of the issue, rather, of bullying. Right, you are nodding your head,
Yes,
right? Yes. So do you think the schools generally are doing enough in as far as bullying is concerned? Because a lot of videos have gone viral, and we also know that the ones that we don't hear are much more than the few ones that go viral that we see. So what do you think the schools are doing enough, and what do you think schools can do more to improve, you know, this bullying?
Bullying. Before I talk about the school, it's not just, it has to do with all the stakeholders, honestly. First, bullying has been in existence like forever. If you go, I went to a boarding school, and I know the bullying. Even
day school, it happens. Yes. It's just that it's more severe.
Because now is the social era. People now have social media. You have access to phone. That's why we are getting to know about it more now. But then I always say, you see, education system or training of a child is like a triangular table with 3 legs.
It is.
So one leg for the school, for the parent, and for the child.
Right.
So the triangular table cannot survive with just 2 legs. The 3 legs need to work together.
True.
Now, the bullying, these children are coming from a home. So before talking about what the school can do, what can the parents do? Because children learn more, they learn faster by what they see compared to what you tell them.
Right.
If you are telling the children it's not okay to bully, how do you treat your help at home? How do you talk to your help at home? The kind of thing, the siblings at home, how do they communicate? How do they behave towards each other? And what have you been able to do to correct that? So if you don't do some of this correction at home and you expect the school to do the magic, it won't work.
Yeah,
so we all have something to do.
I agree that it begins from home. After all, there's a saying that charity begins at home. But at that point where it has gotten to the level where it's being displayed in school, there's a lot more the school can do. What do you think they should do?
So now the school, what I know, I know some school, my school and some other school I know.
Okay, we are going to continue. Just hold your thoughts. We are going to continue from there, and even as we dive into the 18 years policy by the government on students about to write WAEC and JAMB. Our viewers, we plead with you to stay tuned. Just don't change the dial. We'll be back shortly. Let's go on a short break. You're welcome back. Thank you so very much, our viewers, for staying tuned and staying with us on the conversation. My name remains Elizabeth Sam-Sedi, and I have with me at the studio Mrs. Mulikah Abdulkadir. Yeah, thank you. So I want you to continue on that line of thought on what you think that the school can do. Yes, we agree that it is from home that this bullying thing starts, and parents have a lot of role to play to correct. And once they have gotten, of course, when they leave home, they come to school. The moment they are in school, they become your children.
Yes.
They become your sole responsibility.
Yes.
So at that point, when you discover a child being bullied by another, what do you do?
Yes,
or how do you think the school management and authorities should go about it when it escalates to this level?
So the first thing I think schools should do is to put policies in place. So you have your policy, which you share with all the stakeholders. The parents should be aware of the policy. The students should be aware. The teachers who are to implement should be aware. So you know that this school is a no bully area, no bully zone. You encourage the students to speak up, not only when you are being bullied. We say when you see something, say something. So when you see that, oh, this child is being bullied, if that child is not brave enough to walk up to a teacher or an adult to speak, if you know your classmate has been bullied, please go ahead and say something.
And I believe you orient them on this.
Yes, we do.
Each section when you resume
in
school,
fact, each week
you encourage them to speak up?
Each week.
Okay.
Actually, in my school, we have what we call the anti-bullying campaign, which is done every week. So we tackle different topic every week. So you might have who is a bully, what is the bully, what do you do, what is bullying, how do you tackle bullies, what are you expected to do when you see someone bullying, all those things. So we treat different scenarios of bullying.
And I also believe you have counselors, both Christian and Muslim, since you do both religion.
Yes, definitely we do. So we have charts put everywhere around the different corners of the school. So you know, you are constantly reminded that this is, I'm not supposed to do this, I'm not supposed to do this. And then as far as you've made your policy known to the parents, that will not eradicate to say, some students will still try you. They will still differ. So you know, you have to follow through. Sometimes it's not okay to just put the law or the rules if you cannot implement. Now, if you put that policy in place and you are implementing, they will sit up. You know, no matter who you are, and this is not one stroke for all. If child A has been punished in a certain way for the fault thing, when child B, I don't care if you are very smart, if you are very rich, whoever you are going to face the same rhythm.
So well, I want us to dive into the 18 years policy issue now. Off camera we were discussing and how you were telling me that it's been on, it's not it's not really kind of new, it's been there, it's just that the implementation. So let's
I know
viewers
parents
say that.
Thank you. Parents, and you know, some schools are complaining. So what do you want these children to be doing after secondary school?
Before you even go ahead, do you support, are you for or against that? Do you support that children should get to 18 years before they write WAEC and JAMB, or you are against?
I'm totally for it. I'm totally for it. I support it strongly.
Okay, so tell us why you support it.
Okay, first of all, this 18 years has been inflated. Initially, in Nigeria, we was using the 6334 educational system, which is supposed to be 6 years in the primary school, 3 years in junior secondary, 3 years in senior secondary, and minimum of 4 years in the university, in tertiary institution actually. But then, and you are supposed to go to year 1, that's primary 1, at age 6. So if we do the calculation,
I remember then to go to the primary school,
they will tell you to put your hand. If your hand can touch the other side.
So
primary one, it doesn't actually. So it's the enforcement, the implementation of that law. Now, if we've been using that, your child is actually supposed to finish primary school at age 12. Now, Nigeria uses 934 system of education, which is still almost the same thing like 6334, because they just merge the junior secondary to the primary. So by junior, so if you finish primary 6 at age 12, you're supposed to finish your secondary school at 18. But then schools were not using that policy, and parents were not supporting as well. So you have parents that want their child to, at age 4, hey, he's bright, she's good.
But at that point, I think the government should be held responsible, because they were the ones that never followed it up.
Yes. So
because it's whatever. Look, right now they are coming out again to say this, and parents are frowning. If parents broke the rules alongside the school owners, the teachers and the owners, school owners, by not following the policy that was made, created by the government to attain a certain age before a primary school pupil is admitted at the age of 6, and you notice that it's not being followed, what do? You put disciplinary measures and ensure. Yes, because they kept quiet, they kept mute about it. So the whole thing has escalated, and now they are coming back.
So I believe now they've seen the negative impact, because you don't expect you put a 14-year-old in the university to socialize with 25, 30-year-old.
Let's look at some of these negative impacts.
Okay, so number one, we need to understand that the developmental domain of children is not just about cognitive, which is what we focus on. How intelligent are you? How good are you? We have 5 domains. You have your social development, you have the emotional development, you have physical development, you have cognitive development, and then you have your motor. So what are you considering? Your language development, sorry, the 5th one, the language development. Now we all focus on just the cognitive. She's ready, he's ready. But is this child ready emotionally? Is this child ready socially? Now, you are exposing your children to a whole lot of things. When you make them to start socializing with people that are not on the level. Yes, I'm telling you. So the negative impact is so much. You now have people doing drugs. You have people exposed to early pregnancy. And unfortunately, the challenges these days is too much on the children, honestly. Because
even dropouts.
You now have LGBTQ, all sorts of things. So these children are really not ready to mingle with. But when you are 18, that maturity has set in a little bit. You are more mature emotionally, you are more mature socially compared to a 14-year-old child. 4 years is not an easy development.
Also, off camera, we were discussing, and I was telling you about my children, primary 6 and SS3.
Yes.
A lot of parents have this attitude of not allowing their children undergo primary 6. And I personally think that is wrong, because primary 6 has a way of developing and preparing a child for secondary school.
Definitely.
All right. And there was a particular school, primary school. My son went to primary 6. My daughter got to a school, changed school, and the school didn't even have primary 6. It was up to primary 5. It was from primary 5 they were moving to secondary school. And I was like, no. They said, no, that's it. They don't have primary 6. So I had to take her away from there, back to the school where my son had done his primary 6 to do primary 6. And it actually made her, grew her up, developed her, prepared her. So it was a smooth sailing from that primary 6 to JS1.
And that's just a year gap.
And a year is a lot. The brain, the development of the, that's a lot. And at the same time, some parents as well, once their children get to the senior secondary, some of them from SS2, they are writing as low as SS1, make them start writing WAEC.
Yes.
No matter how intelligent
the child is not ready socially, the child is not ready emotionally. And if I don't think it should be a big deal this period. If your child has finished at age 16, you can, there are courses, there are A levels. So the child is supposed to go for A level for 2 years.
That's another thing. You know, I don't know what's wrong with us. A levels is one thing that used to happen way back.
Yes, that even give you better opportunity at securing admission.
Yes, it was almost a necessity then that you go through A levels after when exactly when you finish SS3. But gradually, it was wiped away.
Honestly, I think we are just in a hurry. We just want the children to finish. I really don't know. I don't think it's just about the financial aspect. I believe parents compare a lot. So if I have a child, my My friend child is now in university, you two, you will go. You are just a year different, or you are age mates. Like we compare a lot. You know, that social status is not, it matters so much to us. And then we check the finance, the financing or the financial status, and you feel, well, just leave 1 year school fees and go to the university. And another thing, I think children now develop so big these days.
Oh, they do.
So yeah, so you are
children
looking at
very fast.
you are looking at a child in year 7, and the child is already
physical,
looking, the physical growth
still different from the.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so we judge with the physical growth, and then we judge with the cognitive. Some are not even that smart, but we just feel you are big enough, or my friend's child, or my neighbor's child, or the school fees I want to skip. And then we just keep pushing. So I think now is that everybody should just take the blame. The government puts the rule in place, they put the law in place, but they did not enforce it.
They did not show it, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the schools too, that's why I say anything that is you don't monitor does not get done. So the school too that is aware of, okay, this child is supposed to be in year 1 at age 6. Because the schools, especially private schools, unfortunately, are looking for customers. The school too we take. So if you bring your child and we say, how old is your child? Your child is 10 years old, 10 years, please. This child is supposed to go back to year 6. And the parent threatening to pull their children out.
And I think another thing, hold that thought, don't let go of it. I think another reason why parents make children go to start school earlier than 6 years, because like for working parents that are usually not home, you know, they start by taking the child to kindergarten, daycare, the daycare, crèches and all that. Then from there, the child just migrates. When it's done from the crèche to the kindergarten, nursery, you know, just follow like that, even when they are not old enough to commence or to start.
Well, but really, I don't think that should affect the age they graduate, because like my first daughter started from crèche, because at 6 months, even government gives you 6 months maternity leave. At 6 months, where are you expected to keep your child? You cannot keep taking the child to the office, so you need to drop your child somewhere. So if you drop private organizations don't give up to 6 months. At most they give 3 months.
Yeah.
At most they give 3 months. Okay, now if you now resume after 3 months and you drop your child off at the crèche, is now again it goes back to the school to be able to say no. If you want 2-year-old to be going to nursery 1, do you get? So at what age do you now move this child from crèche to the nursery? Crèche does not have, you cannot say, okay, you've stayed in the crèche for 1 year, okay, go to nursery 1. You have to stand by that age. If you don't clock the age at most August 30th, then you have to wait for the next year, which means...
Because the session resumes September.
Thank you. So which means if year 7, which is just S1, is for 11, 12 years old children. If you don't clock that 11 before September, then you have to wait till next year. So you remain in year 6. So until schools too are enforcing, I think since government too is now waking up, the school too will know, okay, they will learn to reject the parent. By the time the parent go to the first, second, by the time you top 5 schools and they are all saying the same thing, so you make your decision. But because some schools too have been welcoming it, so if you come to my school and I tell you, how old is your child? No, this child is not old enough for year 7. We had lots of parents pull their children there. They feel, I want my child to go to year 7. And they pull out. If you are ready to make that sacrifice to maintain your standard, that's good. Now, I'm happy that it's now general, because it's just few schools that have been maintaining that standard before. Very few. Most school. Now, if you have a school that you don't even have primary 6, as you said, I expect you to have nursery 3, which means your students shouldn't graduate to primary 1 until they are 7. But if you don't have primary 6 and you still don't have nursery 3, that means your students will automatically finish earlier than they're expected to finish primary school. And once I've been in your school from inception, and then I've finished primary 5, that you say, that means I'm done with primary school.
Okay, what about these arguments? Yeah, not particularly in Nigeria, probably foreign countries where at a teen age, some of them have already become PhD holders. As in some very special children, especially intelligent children. There are children that are really geniuses that are very intelligent. So this is part of some parents' arguments that what about those children that are super intelligent and you just like keep them at home, and what would they be doing, you know, at home after they are done with secondary school at age 16, 17 and all that? But it brings me back to what you had just said. If they would, from now henceforth, they would resume or start primary school at the age of 6, then it will rhyme, it will balance, it will balance up, except for those that are already in the process, they have started already. So it will take a while actually for this policy to like blend, because those are already in between. You can't just cut them off.
Exactly. I think that's the main pain of the parents, because some parents felt, well, my children have been in the school. Some parents actually did not skip. They did not make their children skip classes. It's just the education system. So if my child is now 16 and is done with year 12, SS3, has written WAEC, or my child is in SS2, going to SS3. So you mean this child that is 16 will not be allowed to sit for JAMB? I think that's where they are coming from. Now, I think government should put something in place to, you know, don't just make the rule, give the solution. If you're already 16, there are so many things you can do. Well, make your child, when you are done with the secondary school education at 16, go for A-level courses. We have, if you want to do the Nigerian A-level, we have IJMB. Or go and learn a skill.
A skill. That's where the first time I heard about the government and this 18 years policy issue was, I think I concurred with them. I was like, oh, I think it's even good. Looking at it from a bright perspective, all right? In the sense that we talk about education, go to school and all that. After they are done with school, we have countless number of graduates out there right now that are done with school. They don't have jobs, all right? The government is not providing jobs. They don't have jobs to give to these young people that are graduating. All right. So I think it's an avenue, it's an opportunity for parents to engage their children in a skill. Let them acquire a skill. Everybody there's something in everybody, every child. There's something that everybody likes to do. All right. Find out from them. This is what I say from time to time. As your child is growing up, what do they like doing? What do they enjoy doing? What can they do selflessly, effortlessly? Along the line, as they are in school, as they go to school, the 4 walls of the classroom, let them also, you know, develop this knowledge, this skillful knowledge as well, so that by the time they are done from school and there are no government white-collar jobs, they can have
I think even if you don't want to learn like skill like handwork or anything, another thing I feel should be encouraged in Nigeria is internship for undergraduates, because yes, that you have mentioned internship. That is internship is it helps. I feel if you want your child, let me use the common one and feel I want to, my child wants to be a doctor, or my child wants to be a lawyer, and you did not want the child, you feel, oh, he does not need or she does not need any skill by now. I think offices too should be ready to welcome this, to go and just learn practical skills. Can you say I'm smiling a lot when you mentioned internship? Because it's a challenge, honestly, because we were trying to get our students to go and do our year 2, that is 3 students to go for internship. And to my surprise, you know, even when we are offering you, the parents accepted, and we don't expect you to pay these children, but it's not the same thing as exposing them to the life on campus. You are going to office with more mature adults, and so it was good to us. It was tough. Offices felt no, we can't take them. They are babies. We cannot babysit. We can, and it was really, really tough. We had to look inward and start liaising with parents. That's some of our parents that work in different parastatals to say, okay, please, can you help us get? So it's something that I feel we should encourage better. Internship, if it's even just towards your future ambition, we help also. So it's either you do internship or you do A level or you learn a skill. And for the A level, I think to make us to eradicate what we are trying to avoid by not sending underage children to the campus. A-level campuses should not be merged with undergraduate and postgraduate campuses.
It should be on its own.
It should be on its own.
Yes.
So because if you are having A-level, I'm doing some schools call it preliminary.
Okay.
So if you are having A-level courses and they are in the same environment as the undergraduate and the postgraduate, then the aim has been shifted.
I agree.
So I believe if you can't do that, I know most schools have different campuses. I know of Unilorin and Udu, Sokoto. They have different campuses for undergraduates, for IJMB. And then A-level.
That IJMB really used to be effective in the north.
In the north, yes. And they have different campus. There's one that I know they call CAS or something. I've forgotten the full meaning. But they have different campus for them. I think that makes it effective. So A-level courses, internship, we should encourage internship, and then skill acquisition.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. Personally, I'm an advocate for internship. I preach that even for the graduates that have graduated and they don't have what to do yet, rather than just lazy around at home and allow their peer to deviate, them into some kind, whatever kind of attitude, behaviors, and all that.
Free hand is devil's hand workshop, right?
I feel that they should undergo internship. All right, and the government need to come in in this aspect of internship. Government really need to come in because believe me, it's not easy. I have encountered, like we have said, even from starting earlier, in between, maybe holidays, from primary before secondary, maybe you have decided, you've seen that brightness or that angle where you think your child. It's difficult. Even we're even talking internship, we're talking NYSC, to have organizations to accept they keep rejecting and rejecting. It's a challenge.
Honestly,
then for those that did sciences that need to do 1 year internship before NYSC, I'm not just saying it. I have how many in my house. I have my friends' children. They are there. It's a challenge, honestly. So really, the government, both private sectors and the government, parastatals, they need to do something about this. Okay, as we wind down now, I would like you to talk to our viewers on this, generally, on this issue of 18 years in 30 seconds. What your last
okay, thank you. I'll say my last take. I understand. Let me speak from a parent perspective. I understand the economy is not favorable. People are considering the expenses, or I'm done with school, will they now repeat and everything? I will say, let's take this as a good thing for us. It's for the betterment of our children. Yes, the government is not gaining anything from it. It's because they are considering our children. Let's work together with the core government, with the schools, and accept this policy. If your child is already in SS3 and you feel the child is 16, we've talked about some things your child can do to that will help to develop your child better. So you can consider all these options, and then you don't have to keep your child at home. Your child does not need. I think that would be a waste of time. You cannot keep your child at home for a good 2 years, 2 years without anything. So please engage your children. And if your child has not even gotten to that stage yet, please try to follow the age. This policy has been in place like forever. Let's welcome it. Let's not fight the government. Let's not fight the school.
Thank you so
against
much.
That.
Thank you. I would like to thank you very much. This is Mulikah Abdulkadir for coming once again. The conversation. I like the time. Also, our viewers for today, thank you for being there from our studios of Kaftan TV in the FCT, the nation's capital. My name is Elizabeth Sam-Sedi. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Bye.